In your hand, you hold Dick Mullen and the mistaken identity. The brittle paperback feels fragile to the touch. The cover features a pastiche of different scenes. In the foreground, a man in a dark overcoat clutches a pistol to his chest. Rising up behind him are two silhouettes wrapped in a passionate embrace. The tagline reads, "Detective Dick Mullen must prove his innocence after an old friend is murdered by someone who looks just like Dick Mullen." That seems to sum up the premise nicely.
Are you really reading that, detective? Well, you won't find it in there. Those books are much more about ravishing dames and gunplay than real police work.
When was the last time you ravished a dame, detective? Besides your crusty old sock, that is. The story opens with a knock at the door. Detective Dick Mullen is greeted by an old friend, Charlie Spillane, who's come to Mullen to ask a favor on this dark and cold night. Spillane needs Mullen to drive him in from Vespa to a small town along the Elysium coast. Despite his friend's apparent agitation, Mullen does as he's asked, then returns home where he passes out drunk, as he does most nights. Two days later, Mullen is arrested by the Vespa police and charged with the murder of Charlie Spillane. At his interrogation, Mullen learns that Charlie Spillane was shot in a bar in the very town Mullen dropped him off in by a man matching Mullen's description. Desperate to clear his name, Mullen manages to convince the Vespa police to release him for 3 days so that Mullen may solve his friend's murder and prove his innocence.
What's the matter, detective?
The lieutenant shrugs, resigned to the idea that his profession will rarely, if ever, be accurately represented in art and literature. Of course, Mullen didn't do it. That's the whole premise of the book. Anyway, Mullen returns to the seaside bar where Spillane was murdered and meets a beautiful, mysterious woman named Diana Deneuve. Deneuve reveals that she was Spillane's lover and that he was mixed up with a local amphetamine smuggling operation. As soon as Mullen begins pulling at strings, the whole conspiracy begins to unravel. Not only is the local police captain in on the amphetamine ring, so is the son of a powerful politician and a strung-out art collector named Torvald, each of whom has his own reasons for wanting Spillane dead. Outwardly, the old police captain is a real law and order crypto-fascist, a barrel-chested man who's beaten his share of suspects to pulp. But he's also dirty and increasingly paranoid that someone's going to expose his role in the drug ring. He would certainly have the motive and the means, but the captain walks with a noticeable limp from an old war injury. Is it possible that he was able to conceal it long enough to commit the murder? A typical privileged twat. In all likelihood, he's just in over his head. He does bear a personal grudge against Spillane, though, a former prosecutor who nearly brought down his father's administration. The kid doesn't exactly have Dick Mullen's manly build, but he is the correct height, and while interrogating him at his home, Mullen did notice a certain overcoat that looks suspiciously like his own. Torvald, the art collector, is a strung-out mess. Frankly, it's hard to imagine him holding a pistol steady enough to actually hit someone, let alone plug them 3 times in the chest the way Spillane got did. That said, Torvald and Spillane have a long history, and while interrogating him, Mullen discovers that Torvald was once involved with Diana Deneuve. Could it be that this is all over a sordid love triangle? One evening, Diana Deneuve comes to Mullen's hostel room in tears. The two of them drink half a bottle of vodka, and soon they're seeking comfort in each other's arms. Yes, comfort and pleasure. The warmth of another human's touch. The burning taste of liquor on her full, sweet lips. As the two lovers share a post-coital cigarette, Diana Deneuve turns to Mullin and says, "By the way, Dick, there was something else I meant to tell you." Always aim for the center of mass. Whatever it is, Mullin never hears the words. A blow to the base of his skull knocks him out cold instantly. In your hand, you hold Dick Mullin and the mistaken identity. The brittle paperback feels fragile to the touch. It's getting cold, this late in the night. Time to call it a day.
Good night, officer. We'll meet in front of the shack in the morning.
Aye, the sea's gonna calm down soon. I can feel it. The wind is turning southeast. What's on your mind, officer? Hello again, officers. Have you come to admire my mural? Ooh, not only have you found my address, you've discovered my biggest secret. I'm a coal miner.
She does have eyes that seem to be smeared with coal.
Does anyone in a city like this? Yes, I keep hoping a shaft will collapse on me, but somehow it never happens. It doesn't have to do anything at all. Nothing does. Like me. Right now, I'm doing nothing at all. Shoot, Piggy. It's what you do, isn't it?
Give me a moment.
Gendarmerie, you found me.
His slender figure is backlit by city lights, its distant streets and motorways flashing like diamonds. And his shirt is still unbuttoned.
Beautiful. So tell me, are you here to make things right again? Then I have some good news for you. My Sunday friend is visiting me tonight. I told him about you and he'd like to say hello. Step in. He's already waiting. That's nice, but I don't have anything to tell you. It's my friend you're looking for, not me.
He takes another drag of his unfiltered cigarette and looks around. It's getting dark and the neighboring windows have lit up one by one. Downstairs, a cat crosses the yard, disappearing into the bush.
Besides, I've got to run.
Something tells you you're never going to talk to an individual this cool or mysterious ever again.
To the city. It's a beautiful night. We'll talk. Just not tonight. Take care, all right?
And he's gone again. Looks like it's becoming a theme for him.
Officers of the Revachol Citizens Militia.
His hands are clean and well manicured. This is a man who knows the importance of appearances.
My name is Charles Vildrouin, and I am an official with the coalition government. I work for the Institute of Price Stabilité on assignment from Sur-la-Clé. I heard you talking to my friend outside. Very good. Super. I am here to assist you in any way possible. Ask me about the hanging.
Hanging? What a drag. He seems like a cultured gentleman. You should ask him about the finer things.
Of course. Let me just say it has been an emotional week for me. Ah, my friend. My friend is a good young man. His family immigrated here from Kedra, and life has not been easy for him. But he understands the importance of education. He has taken his future into his own hands, and that's all that matters. Sorry, who? But I told you, officer, he's a bright young man here to pursue his education. Education is the foundation of our future, especially the arts. It is a cornerstone of our civilization. Officer, you have to understand. I can't give you his personal information. I'm sure you have your own methods and databases, right? Please don't put me in this situation. He's deeply enmeshed in the study of the fine arts, yes. He's a truly free spirit. He likes all the arts. Perhaps graphic design, printmaking, who knows? The world is open wide for a talented youth like him. I'm just enjoying the view. We're old friends. Nothing's taboo between us. He comes and goes. I'm sure you'll see him around. He's very active. I'm all ears, officer. I'm sorry to say I did, officer. Officer, it's very difficult to describe what I saw that night. It was so surreal to me, like in a play.
He holds out his hands and blossoms his fingers, like a drama teacher setting the scene.
No. I mean, it was so strange. I could barely believe what was happening. I was on the balcony when it happened, getting some fresh air. I remember that first they came in, carrying what looked like a body. And then I saw all the surrounding windows go dead, one by one. That's when I understood. I should not be seeing this. I couldn't see their faces well, and there were quite a few of them. But they were very loud and very Martinez. Let's just say that the laboring classes can get rather expressive with their profanities. I couldn't tell you exactly. Less than 10. Maybe 8?
Sound familiar? That matches the prints you observed at the scene.
That's a giant you're describing. No, they were all quite human, as far as I could tell. I went back inside. Officer, the yard was pitch black. There was nothing to see, but I could still hear their voices. They were threatening to kill that poor man. All men, I presume. But again, I couldn't see very clearly. I believe they were mostly white, though I believe I saw 2 Areopagites among them. And I am quite certain that one spoke with a Mesk accent. Well, that's the strangest part, officer. Nothing happened. It was oddly quiet for a public lynching. Eventually, their shouts died down, and that was all. There were no gunshots, no celebratory shouts, no anything. You're right, of course. That is what one is supposed to do in such circumstances. I was simply in shock. I'm afraid I don't have anything else to add. All I can say is that it was late. My watch. Yes, now I remember. It was 30 minutes past midnight, give or take. No, I didn't see the corpse until the following day. Of course, anything I can do to assist the RCM. The Coalition is only looking out for the price stability. Inflation is a killer, like a heart disease blocking the normal circulation of the economy. It must be controlled. The economy impacts the entire international community, which is why it requires international oversight. Well, I'm renovating it. It is an interesting project. The building used to be a 12-story skyscraper before the cannons took the top 4 stories off. This, of course, happened when the Coalition forces landed here. You could say I'm undoing some of the material damage the international community caused when we arrived here. La communauté internationale is what Revacholians colloquially call the Coalition. In other words, the nations that stopped the disaster of the revolution. Your employer, technically speaking, the governing authority of Revachol. The RCM is but one part of this provisional administration. Whatever you wish, officer. A moment, officer. Do you have everything you need from me? I'm afraid we won't have the chance to speak again once you leave. It's against diplomatic best practices for an official in my position to be discussing murders with local militiamen. And I'm pressed for time. After you leave, I should be leaving as well.
That's not the real reason he's so apprehensive. Men in his position shouldn't be seen loitering around in underprivileged young men's apartments in the middle of the night.
Sure, go ahead. It's a beautiful space. Let me know if you have any further questions.
dented yellow mailbox greets you with its graffito, bullet holes, and an RCM sticker. It's getting cold, this late in the night. Time to call it a day. An old mirror hangs on the wall. You see the reflection of your face in it, such as it is. A regular, clean-shaven police officer. The bed is comforting, if a bit run down. Still, you've earned a rest. Across the room, the heating system hums its soft lullaby. The mattress feels soft and sheets warm. It only takes you moments for the world to fall away.
Thoughts, baby. A million little lights in the dark. You're one fine instrument, brother. All those faces and all those names. All that laughter and screaming and scheming around. Every corner and every street.
Recorded in you forever on Faraday.
On and on it goes for untold hours. At the disco where you first asked her to dance. Rising, rising, above the dark curvature, the great wingspan of sleep, studded with stars.
Behold, there are millions of them down there. The first time, the last time. The smoke in her mouth, the plotted flowers, the faces turning, changing.
It's the world, Harry boy, and you're made of it. Every day you're out there, you make more of yourself from it. I'm afraid you can't be unmade now. You can never forget this shit.
Beautiful. It's stuck on loop, whirling, spitting out words and images.
You're the son of the world again. Harrister, a ceaseless agent. Picking up litter and old newspapers, collecting your little bubblegum wrappers and idiotic picture postcards. Meaningless, meaningless keepsakes.
Reading your awful letters and recalling things, aren't you? The endless names of the world. An address book you are. The map of a city.
You'll go insane if you keep going like this. One more day, and you'll be in the loony bin. I just know you will. And for what, brother man?
For the money, baby. For the greater good.
Solving your little crossword puzzles. Doing your tasks. Crossing names off lists. Trying to become some sort of world detector. It won't make it okay. It won't put smoke back in her mouth.
Are you sure? You could be closing the door on a brilliant and special future for yourself.
Did you hear that? He's renouncing politics. He's strictly business now.
Just another thoughtless vessel, ploughing the grey seas of every day.
Beep, beep, beep. The alarm is ringing, Harry. The disco circus goes on and on. You barely slept 3 hours last night.
You can do it. It's nothing. Do it for the city. Go. Do it for the picture puzzle. Put it all together. Solve the world. One conversation at a time.
Yes?
You see a once bright mural towering above you. The signage has peeled off over the years, but you can still make out Feld Electrical R&D. A slogan used to intertwine with the loops a long time ago. Now, only a shadow of peeled letters remains. It says, "Tomorrow is just a whisper away."
Looks like tomorrow never came.
The mother of humanism stands above you, a precious...
Yes, what is it? The Swallow, you mean? What about it? Because it's just trial and error, trying to locate the Swallow, the exact point in space. And I don't have a... You know what? It would be really helpful if you could just stop talking and let me work. Somewhere underneath those roof beams, I assume.
Only a faint crisscross of rafters can be made out from the dark, most of the tower disappearing into the shade.
There's this place at the back of the church, a place where all audible vibrations seem to decease. I've named it the Swallow, and the higher you go, the less you record.
The Pillar of Silence? Are you sure it's not just an architectural quirk?
Maybe, but it's oddly close to the physical coordinates of the data loss that led me to this place. I know. No, I don't. Great. Thanks. No? Yes. No, you're right. I'm not. I brought them here. These are my machines. Please don't touch anything. They are connected to my RAIN prefect. Whatever you do, just please don't move them, okay? Thanks.
Short and terse. There you have it. Whatever she's using them for, they're hers.
I'm working.
The machine seems almost alien with its pulsing core. The light casting her face in a strange shadow.
Could you just shh for a moment? Or get to the point. I really need to focus on something.
It's not just rudeness. It really is hard to concentrate on whatever she needs to do, and you're not helping.
I use the AR-1 as my RAIN prefect's processing unit. Yes? You really don't know anything about radio computers, do you? All right. Well, all radio computers perform operations up on air. So in order to gain more processing power, you need to invest in a good antenna. I guess it is. So far, I've been quite satisfied with it. Martinez is an unstable region with bad coverage, and the operation has been surprisingly stable. But it's not the cheapest one on the market, so I wouldn't recommend it for your regular red tape operations. Fraser 1000 is a foolproof line for civilians. Anyway, you should do some research before you decide to buy anything. Ask around, compare the prices. There are many milieus dedicated to that sort of thing. So you do know something about computers. You're right. Prefect is used mostly by the government peeps. No, I don't. Because I needed something good for my investigation, and RAIN Civic is widely agreed to be below all standards, so I had to upgrade. Besides, owning a RAIN prefect isn't such a big deal anymore.
No, actually, it is kind of a big deal. You don't see RAIN prefects in every police department, for example.
I know a friend of a friend who used to freelance for the Coalition. I was actually aiming for the military-grade RAIN Rational series, but couldn't find one. Prefect is mainly based on the same technology as RAIN Civic, so it's kind of a rip-off. But it does have better compatibility with newer antenna models, so I won't complain. Great.
Easy. When her research is done, she can move out.
What? No, I don't really need any help with the project.
She thinks about it. A glassy look in her eyes. A gust of wind brings more snow in from the broken gallery. It touches her hair.
All right. Bring me the game's offsite copy from my old workspace, if you really want to help. It's stored on a filament memory, and I'm unable to go and fetch it myself. Yeah, that's the one. You can get in through the bookshop. You just have to do some explaining to the bookstore lady. That's her name, I believe. There's this giant ice bear fridge in the building's cellar. It's there. Don't worry, you can't miss the bear. It's hideous. The bookstore lady hates me. Says I'm part of the curse, whatever that means. Of course not. Anyway, I don't have my keys anymore and she won't let me in. Because she's from Martinez, and people from Martinez have never ever seen a radio computer. She thinks it emits elemental evil. No. She literally started praying for the higher powers when she first saw my range civic. I'm not making this up.
The lieutenant coughs like he's amused.
Once I came in one morning, only to find that my terminal was full of those strange trinkets and amulets. Wards. It looked like some Semenine magic. So what I need you to do here is go have a talk with her, say that you're a policeman and need to get to the building's basement. Then bring me the offside copy, all right? It's a backup of my former employer's project, the radio game we were working on. It's stored on a filament memory, just like the one inside this radio computer.
She's making it extra simple for you.
The backup itself is destroyed now, but I'm hoping to use what's left of it to pinpoint the exact location of the anomaly. You just have to go to my old workspace and get the filament.
Hold on. If it's called an off-site copy, then why is it still on-site?
Oh God, not this again. It is not on-site. It is in the basement. Perfectly safe and not connected to the front at all.
Basement? Sounds like it's technically still on-site.
And no, taking it outside the building wouldn't have protected it from the data loss. There's nothing wrong with keeping the backup in the basement. What happened was a freak accident that has nothing to do with how the backup was stored. We clear? Thanks. And here's my Qualsund multitool. You might need it to hack loose some ice. It opens everything. If you get me the offside copy, then you can keep the Qualsund.
The legendary Kvalsund multi-tool. This is Prybar version 2.0 for professionals like you.
Yes? Thanks.
design on this?
Stylish shades, huh? They'd be even more stylish if you paid for them with net. No luck.
Oh!
Hey, at least it might actually...
You don't like it? Sure, Square Joe.
That's one brutal motor carriage.
If I were a real skull now, I'd jack it, paint it in palm tree livery, then bottom light it, neon style.
A snazzy shit-ripped skullmobile like this would make a fine trophy. We could, like, hang fucking shrunken heads from the side mirrors. Cops' heads. Scary tribal shit.
Yeah, tribal shit. A cop carriage like this would have proper skull value.
While I appreciate the interest you take in my brutal motor carriage, I have to stop you right there. The RCM takes threats directed at its property seriously.
It's just theoretical work, Copper. No basis in reality. Man, if we were certified skulls right now...
Skulls. Now there's a strong organizational title.
I can tell you who we're not, cop. We're not snitches, flowbears, or skulls.
Which is not to say that the skulls are bitches and... On the contrary.
The part of this presentation you want to take home with you, cop man, is we're not part of the skulls yet.
Okay then, let's indulge in some intellectual exchange. These young men seem eager to share their beliefs.
Murder? Yeah, sure. We'll gladly tell you everything we know about it. It was a man.
Also, he was hanged. He was hanged from a tree.
Yeah, I mean, duh.
These punks don't know anything. Let's just move along.
Hey, stop right there. How does one know anything?
Ah, this sounds like epistemology. A field so occupied by thought that it begins to question thought itself. However, there is no way these young men could possibly be aware of her work.
Exactly. How can one know shit? For example, how can one be sure that there truly is a body hanging behind a hostel?
What if it's art? Or just a mere specter?
Maybe it's true. The hanged man is merely a prop in a performance. We are the audience, and the artist is hiding somewhere in the dark.
So what do you think we know? Oh yeah, Cindy's a right proper skull.
Yeah, a true artist of the future. Just like Arno van Eyck.
By the way, if you see Cindy, give her our regards.
For all their nihilistic posturing, these young men are not lacking in youthful idealism. The lieutenant on your left is unusually lenient toward them.
Oh man, yeah. We're not fucking kids, man.
Be wary of the abyss.
It's a threat. An impotent threat of violence. but I don't. In fact, I dislike them so much I'm willing to drag you boys back to the station just to calm myself down.
Hey, there's no need for that. We're just talking here. Joking, too. Stay light, man.
Yeah. Didn't you cops, like, have some questions about skulls or some shit? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That ride is fucking lightning.
Hey, piss. Look who it is. Shrunken cophead material.
That ride is
Hey, piss.